They always say you're most tired when you first come back from your home time. I must say, I'm pretty tired today, but not as tired as I was when I was at home. I tell you, this is an intense job. It's something that I can handle, no problem. I mean, I'm used to working long hours, but I didn't realize until I got home the pace I was running. Like basically almost 14 hours every single day for 5 days, do a 34, and then get right back at it. And I usually like to drive early in the morning. I'll set my alarm around 12:30, 1 a.m., something like that, and I'll start driving early. I usually try to try to plan it out so that way I'm driving through major cities right before or right before or right after rush hour. I promise I can talk. Um, let's see. Let me take it from the last day. I did my last video, and I had stopped at what they called a trucker haven or a rest haven, I think they called it. It was just south of Cincinnati. And I tell you, it was nice. I pulled up and I was like the one of like 8 trucks there. By the time I did my post trip and kind of got inside, I was the only truck in the entire parking lot. And when I woke up the next morning, it was nuts. Trucks everywhere. Hit it hard. Went to Nashville, dropped off I think 2 pods there. Went on to Atlanta, dropped off 1, and then my home time started. I had received a message sometime that day, I believe it was, maybe it was the day before, saying that my leader would like to talk to me about I think it was a safety violation. Didn't know what that was about. I thought it was actually about. I think I mentioned it, but I was driving and the truck in front of me swerved really quickly, and the wind was blowing in one of those like round cone, like it's a round tub, like a barrel type cone. It was blowing around, and the truck in front of me whipped away from it, and I saw it, and I whipped a little bit, and it was apparently enough. I didn't want to whip it really hard and go into the shoulder and then go down the hill, so I just whipped it kind of quickly, and apparently that was enough to cause the roll sensor to trip and got what they call a critical event. And the other one was slowing down. I think I mentioned that one. When I was still trying to get used to the truck and engaged the stage 3 Jake brakes, and they seem to like shut off between stage 2 and stage 3. It like shuts off for a second, completely disables while it engages the 3rd stage, or at least that's the way it felt like. Anyway, didn't end up talking to anybody, but I got the message when I went home for the home time, call us, and that was on Friday. When I got home, it was Wednesday. And I'll tell you, I got home and I was fine. I'd worked a full, I think 12 or 13 hour day after I dropped off the last pods in Atlanta. I parked at the Atlanta OC and then went home. I was fine. Got in the door and crashed. My body was just like, exhausted. I think I took a nap that day. I don't usually take naps, but I took a nap that day and got up after like an hour and a half, and I was still tired. And luckily, because I've been away from my family, they were just like, what would you like? Would you like a nice dinner? Would you like, pizza? Would you like, any of my creature comfort foods or whatever? You want to get a burger? You want, nachos? What do you want? And that was nice. So I was at home with the family, and I tell you, after I woke up from that nap on Wednesday, and it was Wednesday evening, I tell you, it felt to me like I'd already been home a day. And I was so happy to learn that I wasn't already, because I have enough time to reverse my sleep schedule. So that nap was enough to put me back on a regular sleep schedule, so I was able to be up with my family and spend time with them. Then I had Thursday, and I tell you, my days when I was home were action-packed. There was the Thursday I went out to visit visit my in-laws. Friday, there was an event at school that my kids' school, basically all day. So I was there for most of the day. Little brief break in the middle of the day that I went to the bank with my wife, and then after that, I was with the family. And then the weekend, I had various different activities going on and different things going on, and was with them and spent a lot of time with the family. Went and saw my 97-year-old grandmother, spend some time with her. Um, my mom was actually amazing because she had asked me last week. I had done a video where I did a kind of a lot of people don't know what's on the inside of a truck. So I did a video and basically walked through the truck and said, here's the truck and this is what it looks like on the inside. And I think my mom sent it out to the entire family to see what I was up to now. And got a couple of messages. Wow, I've always wondered what was inside of one of those big semis. It's really cool. So it's like one way to look at it. It's cool. It's functional. I mean, I love the air fryer. I love the fact that I can make tea. And, I don't drink a whole lot of caffeine, but, sometimes when you settle down at night, nice cup of tea. It's nice. All right. Let's see. What else? Seeing the family, for 4 days straight was really nice. But then it was time to get back on the road. So I didn't sleep very well, and Saturday night, so I was pretty much tired all day, yawning all day on Sunday. But I was able to get my sleep schedule back early. I didn't sleep well, and I only slept like 5 hours. But I made it through the day, and I went to bed early. So I got up I woke up about 9. Got up this morning at 4, just before 4 a.m. I think. Got all my stuff ready, drove back to Schneider, brought all my bags and stuff back to the truck, kind of got them situated, installed the CB radio my mom got. She had contacted me last week because in my video I had said, I'll get a CB radio at some point. Now, because of the no distraction policy from Schneider, I don't use it, but I turn it on and I listen to it. I don't, talk back or anything like that. And I'm not just saying that. I don't. As a matter of fact, you can't really see. Actually, you know what? I'll do this and you'll see it. But you can see that the CB radio is actually mounted there, and then the mic is actually in the top. So I have the I have the microphone not even in there. I could probably unplug it if I really wanted to, but why do that, I guess. So I listened to the CB radio this morning, and there was not really a whole lot going on when I was at the Atlanta OC, waiting on a job. I sent a message saying if someone wants to give me a call and talk about the safety violation, critical, whatever, you can give me a call. Or if you just want to send me a job, then we can talk afterwards. And that was my little subtle reminder because I had been sitting there, not on the clock. Basically, I want to use my hours for driving. And I knew that I would probably be sent something, and I didn't want to end up being out of hours. So what did I do? I sat around. I installed the CB radio. Nothing was going on, so I basically talked to a few people on the phone, sat here, and kind of got things in order for the next 3 weeks. I'm going to be out on the road, and did that. Not really anything all that exciting, aside from the email that I sent saying that I'm available if you want to send me something. I didn't hear from anybody until I think it was just about 10 a.m. 10 a.m. I get a message saying, here's a job, going to Michigan. Cool. No problem. Glad to do it. So I jumped into pre-trip mode, did a pre-trip, hit the road. And looking at it, Michigan is, I think, about 700 miles from Atlanta. It says I have 2 days to get there. What I'm going to try to do is it took like an hour and 15 minutes to load up because it was pretty packed at the pods location. They were pretty busy and running a bit slow. Picked up 3 pods, hit the road, ran into a little bit of traffic on 285 because there's always traffic on 285, but they decided to repave an area of the road because, you know, hey, if the DOT doesn't use their budget for something, they're going to lose it. So might as well cut a little patch out of the ground and replace it for no reason. Anyway, got up north, drove up 75, uneventful. A little bit of a traffic jam right as I got into Tennessee. But I tell you, there was a welcome center right there. So I took the exit to get there because I was getting close to a load securement check. So I went ahead and pulled off there. They had no parking spaces, and they say no parking, and there was a security officer there looking around. So I basically pulled over to the side right in front of a no parking sign, you know, pull the brakes and put it in neutral, quickly selected load securement check on the tablet, ran around checking everything and hoping and praying there was nothing wrong. I didn't think there would be, and there wasn't. Circled the truck, jumped back in. Load securement check's a load securement check. Everything seemed to be in check just fine. The security officer was leaving me alone. He's probably leaving me and watching me for a second to see what I was doing. But I was only stopped for like 2 minutes, and what I really appreciated is that there was a little bit of traffic there because of the split between 24 and 75 right there before Chattanooga. But I tell you, leaving that welcome center, bypassed it. It was like, you know, you're going to have your own little bridge. You go up and over and just turn right on 75. Started going north, and then at this point, what I started thinking about is tomorrow, I want to try to get the delivery done if I can by 2. If I can arrive by 2, that'll be awesome. So what I looked at is if I'm going to get there by 2, if I'm driving roughly 65 miles an hour and I drive like 10 hours, that's 650 miles. I'm going to drive until I hit about 550 miles. That way, hopefully tomorrow, I can do what I like to do. Wake up really early, beat traffic, and I basically just pull off on the rest areas, even though they're usually pretty packed, just long enough. I can look at my rest areas and kind of trip plan it out so that way when I see a rest area on the side of the road, and usually when you get to one, it will say the last rest area for 40 miles, 45 miles, whatever. And Tennessee is usually pretty good about having truck parking areas on the side. And they also have exits with truck stops pretty often. They're pretty truck friendly. So what I decided to do is hit the road and not really trip plan it. Much to the point where once I hit 75, I was going to start watching for the magic number as being about 550 miles, leaving 550 for me tomorrow, because I'm going to get up early and drive, and I'm hoping to get there by 2 p.m. So that means that I'll get up at 2 a.m. and drive with only the only stops I'll be making are the load securement checks until I need to unlock the last 3 hours. And so at some point in time, I'll end up stopping for at least 30 minutes. I'll probably go ahead and trip plan there. For the rest, I'll probably stop on the early side because I think for my trip planning today, I might end up hitting Cincinnati right about rush hour time. So what I'll probably do is stop before that and do trip planning, or they'll probably actually put out a video because they like to put out videos every now and then, and I probably should watch it. So if they put a video out, because the week that we have is Driver Appreciation Week, so it's not as at the time that you're watching this, but it is as at the time I'm recording this in September of 2023. So I'll probably watch the video that they come out for Driver Appreciation Day, and then I'll drive on. So I'll hopefully beat that traffic or come in just after it in Cincinnati, and it won't slow me down that much. Cincinnati can be difficult if you catch the wrong road to the wrong time. Anyway, I'll get through there, and I'll be right outside of Detroit, and all will be well. Hopefully, I will arrive in Detroit in the 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock hour. I'm going to have to stop for fuel at some point, so hopefully I can just pull right into the Pilot or Flying J. I think it's listed as a Pilot on the app, and I'll just pull right in there, get my fuel, and hit the road. I normally like to stop at the fuel stops or someplace, do a real quick load securement check, TIV, tire check, and I'll glance at my trip planning and paperwork if I need to. But most of the time, I stop, grab my keys, jump out. My box is right there, so I grab out of the accessory box my winch bar, and I go around and with my left hand I'll check the tension on the cables, and I'll hit the tire, hit the tires on each one of them and listen to them. As I get to the other side, I'll basically check to make sure they're still hooked correctly and the tension's good. And I walk around the truck, and since I've been lucky so far, I guess maybe it's just that I'm securing things properly, but things have not gotten loose and run away from me, or gotten even loose more than like one click's worth. And sometimes that's just it's adjusting. It might be one little click that I might need to tighten it up or something like that, and I'm not opposed to doing that. At this point, I've got it down to a science where I can squeeze it pretty quickly and determine if I need to tighten it a spot or two. Usually it's only one, if any. I might have to make an adjustment once or twice out of every run. I might just have to check it like, second day or something like that. Might have loosened up by the first load securement check or something. But things have been going really well as far as I'm concerned. Came to a stop today, hit the 550 mark right as I got to a pilot in Sweetwater, Tennessee. Never been here before. The pilot actually, shortly after I got there, I went in there and used my driver rewards and came out with a bunch of things. And the pumps ended up going down, and they've been down now for about an hour and a half. I don't know why. The computer system's down. They say cash only. So the pumps are vacant. Kind of interesting to see that. Luckily, I don't need to fuel up here. But anyway, so I called to find out what the safety or critical event violation, whatever, was for, and it ends up being I talked to the main manager over my DTLs, and he said, look back in your mind to August 30th. Do you remember going over in your drive hours? And I was like, oh yes, I remember that, and I got pretty fired up. If you recall, I think I did a vlog talking about that. I was really annoyed at California because California just does not let you stop. They don't put shoulders on the side of the road. They don't give you wait areas that are open that you can pull over. They don't give you rest areas. They don't give you anything. They don't put signs up so you can see where there's a truck stop. They don't put anything up there except signs that say, no trucks over 6 tons here. No trucks over 6 tons here. Low bridge. No trucks over 6. No trucks on this exit. You can't pull off. So I got very frustrated because the one exit that I took wasn't able to park at. And had to drive over my hours. And I was very frustrated about that and told him I'm going to make sure if I ever go back to California, I have a few backups. And I'm not going to, chance it because California does not seem to be a very trucker-friendly state. And I think he appreciated the fact that I was fired up about it because I was not happy about it going. He said, well, you're out of the area of it being in your logs where if you were pulled over, it'd be a log violation. He said, you're out of that area now. And I'm like, good. I was counting the days. I knew that it was going to be during my reset. Or my home time, rather. But it ends up being that he said it wasn't, like some people online say, yeah, it's a $250 fine. You get back to work. Well, I tell you what. He said, oh, no. He says they take it, the FMCSA takes it about as serious as they do a DUI. He says they'll fine you $10,000. I'm like, $10,000 is no joke. I understand being compliant. I always like to follow the rules, as you've heard me say. Another reason not to play in California. If I get below about 2 hours, I'm going to make sure I find a stop. Probably 3 hours the first time. And I'm going to make sure I have multiple different truck stops that I know of in that city. So that way, if there's traffic and it's going, 3 miles an hour, I'm going to have an option. Or know in advance. If I'm coming in at rush hour time and it's going to be stupid, I'm going to have to stop accordingly. Make sure I stop early. Don't chance my hours there. I do not want to end up doing that again. So if anybody from the FMCSA is watching it, by the time you're watching this video, it was 98 days ago. Well, actually, it was over that because these videos are 98 days delayed. I was not happy about that, though. Not happy at all. Learning experience. Big time learning experience for a new driver. So I talked to him, and he says, aside from that, your logs, and he says everything looks good. Keep up the good work. In so many words, he didn't actually say it that way, but I was like, awesome, thanks. So that was that. I am getting a little on the tired side. I'm getting close to 7 hours before I need to wake up, which is the magic time for me. I'll go to bed and wake up, do my pre-trip. I'll wake up, I'll brush teeth and get dressed, obviously, and my time, I will be sitting here watching it, counting down the moments until that 10 hours hits, so I can jump back in, do my pre-trip, hit the road, see if I can get to the other side of Cincinnati before rush hour. And if not, I'll be sitting in it, which I hate. But then hopefully I'll be able to get to Detroit. Hopefully I'll be able to get to Detroit before 2. That's when I put in the ETA for is 2 o'clock. Same time zone as Atlanta. So basically I was sent the job and I'm going to try to deliver it 28 hours after being sent the job. I really wish the hours of compliance, I really wish that you could float them a little bit. Like today, I wanted to shift my hours back. So I know that if I want to try to get there by 2 and I'm driving approximately 11 hours with approximately an hour of pre-trip or a 15 minutes or to 30 minutes of pre-trip and a 30-minute break with a bunch of real quick load securement checks, the rest of it's going to be drive time. And if I can get there 10 hours, 11 hours, if I'm driving, if I start to get close to that 11-hour mark and it's getting close to 2 o'clock, I'm going to have to pull over at a truck stop and I'm going to have to go there the next day. Not gonna play games there. But what I do start doing is looking at things as I approach as I start to get ready to leave. As I'm part of my trip planning is I start to look at truck stops in and around the city that I'm in, so I can do that and look at it. And tomorrow during that 30 minutes of trip planning throughout the day, that's probably when I'll do it. That way I can go ahead and hit the hay now. Normally I try to look at it a day in advance and plan out my stops. But since I know that I'm going to have to take a 30-minute at some point to get to the last 3 hours of my clock, I'll do my trip planning and paperwork, or trip planning at that point. So there you go. We're starting to, I don't know if I'm starting to sound like a truck driver or not, but starting to feel like one now that I'm away from my family. And I'm going to be on the road for 3 weeks again. Can't wait to see where I'm going to go, though. It's going to be neat. Hopefully I'll be able to get to Michigan tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be able to drop the thing off. And hopefully I'll get another job and I'll be able to drop that off, or it will take me long enough to drop it off. Well, hopefully it'll be before Saturday, so that way I can pick up another load someplace. Get another load and go. I'd like to be able to drop off something by like Thursday or Friday and pick up another load that goes over the weekend, maybe across the country, so that way I'm not sitting there idling. But in fairness, if I'm driving now, I'll have to do a reset. Unless I have a load that drops off and it can use the last 6 hours I'm going to have. Because I only did like 6 hours today. Yep, about 6 hours, because about 10 a.m. until about 4. And if I drive 14 hours the next 4 days, I will have about 6 hours left. So that would mean that on Saturday, if I'm close, I can make a delivery. If not, I really hope that I can get it done by Friday, because if not, I'm going to have to reset. I'll drive as much as I can on Saturday, and then I'll reset, because they're not going to give me a job. They're not going to give me a job over the weekend. I'll sacrifice the hours on a reset if I have to keep on, if I can keep driving. And by that I mean, like, if I have 6 or 7 hours later, I'm not going to drive them just to shut down and then do a 34. I'll go ahead and do a 34. That way I can drive 14 hours, or drive 11 hours and, maximize my time on the road. Because when the wheels are turning, you're earning. $10 an hour is not going to cut it very long. So I can sit there, waste my hours on the clock waiting for a job, or I can use that time driving. I'd rather do that. So I sat around with my mind going crazy today while I was waiting for a job, but I got it now. On to Michigan. So here we go. Start of my second full 3 weeks out. Can't wait to see what this next 3 weeks entails.